Hi guys, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Anna. I'm a sophomore at Wheaton College and I'm a leader for Waubonsee. If I haven't met you yet, please do come introduce yourself to me at the end of the talk because I'd love to get to know each and every one of you. So I'm sure by now you're aware that it's Valentine's Day, so I figured what better to talk about on Valentine's Day than love. I know, save the eye rolls, I'll try to make it as interesting as possible. So for those of you that know me, you know that I did my first year of college at Ole Miss. Last year for Valentine's Day, a couple of my girlfriends and I that were single or not with our boyfriends went out for dinner. I guess you could call it Galentine's Day, apparently that's a thing now. But we were out to dinner and one of my friends told us that she had this really funny Valentine's Day story to tell us. And she starts to tell us that when she was in middle school, she was texting this boy. And if you're anything like me, or if she was anything like me, her text with this boy looked probably something like this. Did anybody else's texts look like this in middle school? Because I know mine did. So then after she's texting this boy, she gets to school and she's walking in with all of her friends and she sees that her locker has been completely decked out in all kinds of Valentine's Day decorations. Pink and red and hearts, you name it, it was on her locker. And she was horrified that all of her friends witnessed this and she was so embarrassed. She thinks that that might be the end of it because she kind of put a stop to it and told the boy that she wasn't interested. But then she's in her homeroom class, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but we used to have these Valentine's Day grams that you could send people in their classes in middle school. Most people did them as a joke to embarrass their friends, but there were a select few that did it romantically in an attempt to win a girl over. And that was exactly what this boy was doing. So she's so embarrassed that that happened because the teacher calls her out in front of the whole class. At this point, she's so over this boy, and she just wants him to stop pursuing her. But then she gets to her bus after school thinking this is all done, no longer is going to be there, but there he is standing in front of her bus with a bouquet of flowers. He asks her to be his girlfriend, and of course, she denies him once again. So she told us this funny story, but it made me think that our relationship with God looks a lot like this relationship with this boy did. A lot of times we turn God down, we tell him we're not interested and that we have better plans for ourselves. But the reality is that God is always going to be there for us, pursuing us and loving us, despite how many times we refuse him and say that we're not interested. Valentine's Day and any other day in the life of a high schooler or any human being ever for that matter can leave us feeling lonely, unloved, and forgotten about. But with God, we no longer have to bear these burdens and feel these feelings because we are so unconditionally loved. I am going to play this song that I found a couple months ago. It's become my favorite song of all time. It just reminds me, no matter how horrible of a day I'm having or how unloved and forgotten about I feel, it just reminds me of how unconditionally loved I am by Jesus, and I wanted to play it for you guys. The lyrics will be up on the screen, so if you can, just follow along, and then we'll talk about it after the song.
So kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you
love this song for so many different reasons. I wish we had time to listen to the whole song from beginning to end and go through it all, because I think there's so much to be learned from this song, and I just enjoy it so much. But I thought we would start with the first verse and the chorus. So the first verse starts like this: "Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. You have been so, so kind to me." This reminds us that before we were even born, God breathed his life into us and was loving us before we had even done anything to earn that love. God was rejoicing over us and had everything planned out, loving us with a love that would never, ever leave us. I really wanted to focus on the chorus, though. The chorus goes like this: "The overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God." Overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. I don't know about you guys, but when I wake up every morning, this is the kind of love that I feel I need. The sad thing is, a lot of us feel that way, but we look for it in earthly relationships, and we look for affirmation by going from relationship to relationship, rather than looking in the one place where we can truly find it, that is in Jesus Christ. So the second part of the chorus says, "Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. First time I heard this song, I was like, what the heck does the 99 mean? That didn't seem to make sense to me. But then it occurred to me that refers to a parable in the Bible, or a story in the Bible. Brett went over this story 2 weeks ago if you were at club. Just a recap for those of you that weren't, or those of you that don't remember what it was about. So basically the shepherd has 99 sheep, and then there's one that has gone astray and is lost and can't find his way back. And instead of just tending to the 99 sheep that the shepherd has, he goes after the one that's lost, and he chases after him, never giving up until the sheep comes back. This is then related to Jesus in the way that he has millions of people that already follow him and have accepted to walk with him through life. But then there's one of us that's gone astray. Jesus is going to chase after that one and pursue them until they decide to accept him and his love that he has for us. But tonight I wanted to focus on a different story. It's pretty similar. It's actually the next story in the Bible, and it's Luke 15, 8 through 11. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It says, "Or suppose a woman has 10 silver coins and loses one. Does she not light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? And when she does find it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, 'Rejoice with me, I have found my lost coin.' In the same way, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels over one sinner who repents." So this story, like I said, is pretty similar to the story of the 99. This woman has 9 perfectly good coins that can probably sustain her and get her through life and the essentials that she needs. However, this one coin means so much to her that she tears apart her whole entire house looking for it, searches constantly for it, and doesn't give up until she finds it. Then my favorite part of this story is the amount of joy and rejoicing that takes place once she has found it. That's in the last verse. It says, "In the same way I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels over God, over one sinner who repents." So this just shows us how much joy God finds in just one of us turning to him and choosing to follow him. It doesn't have to be a huge group of people. It just has to be one of us. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel like a pretty big deal. Now I wanted to go look at one of the last verses in the chorus. It says, "I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away." So this reminds us that we did nothing to deserve this love that we're given through Jesus Christ. Therefore, there's nothing we could do, no sin too big, no lie we could tell, no mistake we could make that can separate us from this unconditional love that God has for each and every one of us. That's pretty cool if you ask me. His love will always be there surrounding us no matter how many times we turn against him, choose not to follow him, and make our own decisions. The chorus then repeats the first line, which says, "Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God." My hope for each of you tonight is that this is a refreshing reminder for you that you are so incredibly loved by Jesus. High school may leave you feeling lonely, sad, unloved, and whoever knows what else. However, we can find unconditional, unshakable love that is unattainable by any earthly relationship or by any other means than by Jesus Christ. I have one final quote that I want to leave you with. If we don't first find foundational love in Jesus, no love on earth will ever truly fill us in the ways we deserve. I'm going to read that one more time. If we don't first find foundational love in Jesus, no one on earth will ever truly fill us in the ways we deserve. If something tonight connected with you, raised questions within you, or excited you, I would encourage you to reach out to a leader. There's so many leaders in this room that are so incredible and care and love you almost as unconditionally as Jesus does. We would love to talk more about what this love looks like and how you can find it. I promise you that once you recognize and accept this radical love, your life will be transformed forever. So I'm going to pray for us and then we can all go home.